Good morning, everybody. Shefa, Baruch v'atzluch u'moadim l'simcha. We are in the middle of Chag Pesach, and as we said before, one of the main issues of Pesach is V'higatta libincha bayom ha'hu lo emor, is telling the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim to our children, to the next generation. And as we said, כנגד ארבעה בנים דיברה התורה, against four boys, four sons, the Torah is speaking. Of course, the idea is not those four sons as we think, literally, but the meaning is that you have to pass the message in a way that everybody will understand it. If he's a wise guy, if he's an innocent guy, if he is, let's say, hyperactive, if he's like this and like that. So the Torah just put it in four figures: Rasha, Chacham, Tam, V'she'eno yodea lish'ol. I was puzzled about what is so important in the Seder night, in the Ke'ara of the Seder night. Why is it so important that everything is going to be in the right place? I remember my father, Alav Hasholom, Zal, he, when he started the Seder night, he used to take the plate and look exactly at the picture that he had in the Haggadah, how to put everything in the place. For many years, I didn't understand what's the whole idea behind. And then, a few years ago, I read a very interesting article, Dvar Torah that Rav Pinkus wrote. And he wrote about the idea that really it's very important where all the parts are sitting in the kara, in the plate of the Seder night, because each one of them is really a symbol of one of the 10 Sfirot. The 10 Sfirot in the Kabbalah is a 10 things that are the light that comes from up there down here, and it comes in certain proportion or portion, or call it what it is. Because if somebody wants to get the whole light, you cannot get the whole light. It's like somebody looks directly to the sun. You cannot look directly to the sun, you will be blinded. So you need special glasses, dark glasses, that are going to give you a part of the light. The light doesn't change, but the way you receive the light is being changed. And the same thing is with those 10 Sfirot. Those 10 Sfirot are really the way for us to get the light. So the first thing, in the Kabbalah, they say that first of all, you dismiss the light. You turn it, you don't take it, you send it away. Then, this is what you call manola. You lock the light, you don't take it, you lock yourself, and you don't get any light. Then it's maftecha, which is you open yourself to receive the light. But of course, as we said, at certain levels. And those levels are like in those Eser Sfirot, which are Keter, Chochma, Bina, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Od, Yesod, Vemalchut. I'm not going to translate it. We're not going to go to complicated things. The idea of the Seder night is this: all the parts that are on the plate, including the 3 matzahs that we use on the Seder plate, on the Kara Shel Seder, Shel Pesach, they are all part of the 10 Sfirot. And this is why it's very important. For example, the Chesed has to be on the right side, up. And Rachamim, and Gvura has to be on the left side. And so on and on. The interesting thing is that the plate is what we call Malchut. Malchut is like taking everything, like you have to take all those things together, and this is to generalize it in order to understand the idea. In other words, all those parts are really revealing to us the klal, the big thing. The big thing is that we, like as Malchut, have to work on ourselves to build up and to get more and more light each time. So it's like you have a table. Now the table has 5 parts. 5 parts? Or 6 parts. If we say 5 parts, we can say each one of the legs are 4 legs, 4 parts. Then there is the surface, which is the 5th part. But, as the Rav Pinkus says, there is a sixth part. And what is the sixth part? The whole thing together, which is called a table. In other words, it's not enough to have the details. You have to understand what it's all about. Because otherwise, if the details, for example, in Seder night, each one of the signs of the Simanim is going to be in a different place, means nothing. If you don't collect them together in the right proportion, in the right place, it's not like a puzzle. If each one of us is a part of the puzzle, we have a special place that's where our part is going to go in. We cannot just spread all over or go wherever we want to. No, because we won't have the puzzle. The picture of the puzzle cannot be completed if each one of the parts is going to be in a different place. Each one of the parts has to be in the right place exactly. Only then, it reveals the klal. It reveals the big picture. And this is the idea of the Seder night, to reveal the big picture, which is built from a lot of small parts, and then connect them together. It's very interesting idea. For example, a few years ago, I had a Seder night at a hotel, and I asked the one who was managing the Seder to say a Dvar Torah that my father used to say every Pesach night. And he says, okay, no problem. So this is what we did. And after the vote, somebody asked me, who am I? Where did I come from? He enjoyed the vote. So I said, I used to live in Petach Tikva, and now in Ra'anana. He says, I know a business in Petach Tikva which is called Achim Hamburger. And my father was in very good relation with the owners, with the brothers Hamburger. And I said, it's us. And we have today already the third generation in the business. And while we're talking, he told me that he lives in Jaffa. And I told him, it's very interesting. My brother used to live in Jaffa. And not long ago, he moved to Nachlaot in Jerusalem. And I even had a chance a few years ago to give a shiur there in Shavuos night, in the shul in Jaffa. And he says, you know what? It's very interesting that you're mentioning this. I know a very nice guy. He's my mentor in Jaffa. And he also recently left Jaffa and went to live in Nachalaot. And his name is Yair Amichai Hamburger. I says, that's right. That's my brother. He says, what do you say? This is your brother? He was in a shock. Oh, and then he's also connected to Achim Hamburger, the business. Oh, So in other words, the Dvar Torah that you gave from your father that you said on the Seder night, it's your father and it's his father. He says, yes. He just didn't connect the parts. And then I had let's say, in reality, to see when somebody, he knows the details, but he doesn't connect them together. And if he doesn't connect them together, he hasn't got the picture. He knew my brother. Now he knew me. He knew our business, but he didn't connect the things. And now when he realized that everything is connected, now he's got the whole picture. And this is exactly what we are doing on the Seder night. To connect the parts, and they have to be in the right place, exactly, in order to have the whole picture. And so we go on through the week of Pesach. We start Sfirat HaOmer, because the idea is to rebuild ourselves and elevate ourselves from the level of the Nefesh HaBehemit, from the level of a beast, to become a man, a human being, a mensch. That's the idea of Sfirat HaOmer. Building ourselves and not forgetting that we are part of the klal. We're not a one details. We are detail that is apart from a whole thing which is called Am Yisrael. This is why in the end, it's written on Ma'amad Har Sinai in Shavuos, when we are going to receive the Torah, B'ezrat Hashem, the end of Sfirat HaOmer, when we really build ourselves in a proper way, and not alone, but together with everybody, which is written, Vayichan Sham Yisrael, in singular. All Am Yisrael are written as one. Ke'ish echad belev echad, like, because they were like one. A wishful thought that we will get to that level. And this is the idea of Sfirat HaOmer. And this is the idea of Pesach. To take the parts, connect them together, to reveal the klal, to reveal what it's all about. And the highest level is really not the first night. The first night is the opening. Now we have to start and walk and build ourselves in Sfirat HaOmer. Then we get to Shirat Hayam, to the seventh day, when Am Yisrael were going into the ocean, and they were walking on the land in the middle of the ocean with the water as a wall from right and left. And this is the biggest miracle of all Yetziat Mitzrayim. They say, "Ata shifcha al hayam asher lo ra'u nevi'im," that a slave girl saw a slave girl, let's say the lowest figure in Am Yisrael, saw what the prophets didn't see. In other words, they were elevated at that moment to the highest level you can. This is Shirat Hayam. Ze keli v'anveu. And what is so important about it, that till the point that they went into the sea, everything was happening from up, from heaven, from God. We prayed, we cried, we asked, and we got it. God took us out of Egypt. But now, after we already started building ourselves, God is telling us, 1 minute, that's it. Now you have to do something. And this is the reason that as long as they were standing there and nobody was trying to go into the water, nothing happened. Then Nachshon ben Aminadav jumped into the water and the sea departed. Came two parts, water here, water there, and dry land in the middle. But we had to do the first step because it's like a baby. In the beginning, the parents did do everything for the baby. Then he starts walking. So you help him walking. And then you leave him alone to walk by himself. That's the same procedure that we're going through in Sfirat HaOmer. And one of the highlights is the seventh night of Pesach. And talking about going by Yabasha betoch hayam, in the dry land, in the ocean, this is a story I think I told you before. A few years ago, we went to an exhibition in China, and we stopped for a few days, or on the way back, I don't remember. It's all in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong is built like you have Kowloon, which is the land, and then you have the island, which is Hong Kong. So we were staying in Kowloon, and we went for the day to Hong Kong to see around scenery and see a few places there. They have the longest, moving steps in Hong Kong. And it was getting time for Mincha and Mariv, and we wanted to get back to Kowloon. Then we found out it's the rush hour. Nobody wanted to take us to the other side. In order to get into the other side, you had a road underneath the water to cross from the island Hong Kong to Kowloon, to the dry land, and this tunnel was underwater, and nobody. We offered double the money, 3 times the money to taxis to take us to the other side. Nobody wanted to do it. We understood. He says he is not moving. That line is not moving. He's not going to even try to go to the other. Whatever we were going to pay him, it's not worthwhile for him to go through this. We didn't know what to do. We wanted to get back. We wanted to daven Mincha and Mariv. Suddenly, in front of our eyes, we see a chassid asking, can you tell us how we get from here back to Kowloon? He says, what? No problem. 5 minutes there, over there you've got a train, a subway, whatever you call it, underground train. Everything is underground. And you take line 8, or whatever it was, and you have to go 2 stations, and it will take you exactly 5 minutes to get from this side to the other side. You have to understand, it sounds like not normal, unbelievable, because it took hours to go from this side to the other side. And he gave us exact instruction. So we didn't have anything to lose. We went there and we went down. The picture, millions of Chinese people for going up, 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 up. It's like the central station of the world. And so many lines. If he wouldn't gave us the number of the train we need and how to walk through where to go, we couldn't make it. It's millions of people down there. We found the train. We went on it. 2 stations. 5 minutes, we were on the other side. And we're going in the dry land. והמים להם חומה מימינם ומשמאלם. The water was a wall from right and left and even above. 5 minutes, and you know where the station was on the other side? Near the shul, near the Bet Chabad, and near our hotel. Unbelievable. If you go on the right way, you have siyata dishmaya. God will find a way to help you. He will send you a messenger. I don't know who this guy was, this chassid in the middle of Hong Kong. Who could have imagined to meet a guy like this in the middle of Hong Kong? In the minute that we need him, and this unbelievable thing. Take away of 1 hour or 1.5 hours in 5 minutes. And this is the feeling of Am Yisrael, walking in the dry land with the water. What is water? Torah. When you go in the way of Torah, you walk on dry land. If you don't go in the way of Torah, Mitzrayim tavu bayam. The Egyptians, they drowned in the sea. And litvoa, to drown, is teva, nature. So if you believe in nature, God is going to give you in the hands of nature. So how do we get out of the hands of the nature? We have to build ourselves in Sfirat HaOmer. We have to elevate ourselves to get to the level of building ourselves as a human being and not a beast. One of the big problems is avodat hamidot. Work on our midot. I know what's happening with me. I get very quickly angry and on stupid things. And believe me, God taught me a lesson this Yom Tov. We're staying in a hotel, and we did the Seder night. And on the Seder night, we had all our family there, and they organized the plates in a way that it was so stuffy, you couldn't move. So I was getting angry. You know, I'm paying a lot of money, and I cannot sit properly for the whole Seder night. So I went to the manager and then to the general, and to all of them, says, I'm not going to sit like this. You have to change it. And I was really getting angry. Baruch Hashem, eventually they organized, they put another table on, and the end of the Seder, we went to our rooms, and only on Motzei Shabbos, which is Motzei Yom Tov, first day of Pesach, I remembered I didn't take my cup, my silver cup, that I'm used to bring with me in order to do the first thing. First of all, it's a special cup for Pesach, and then it's also in the right measurement, so I can bring 4 glasses, and not those glasses in the hotel that they put so much in that after 1 glass or 2 glasses you're under the table. Anyway, I paid for the way I behaved, and I asked, till now I'm asking, if maybe somebody found it. No, it's not there. I presume somebody took it from the workers. But this is kaparat avanot. This is to teach us, not to get angry. And you know, I was getting angry this Yom Tov on a lot of things. I forgot this here and that there. It's like God is trying to help me work on myself on midat hakas. And it's very important, because this is one of the main issues. It's like this morning, I took an interesting point from Vetem Chelkeinu. This is a small book. I promised the Rav Kowalski, who is publishing those things, that every Tuesday I'm going to give a word from it. And the word today is really connected to Kas. Unbelievable. It says, Aha Rabbi Mani Bar Patish, Kol HaKoes, everybody that gets angry, Afilu Poskim Alav Gdola, even if it was written in heaven that he's going to get greatness, Moridim Oto, they're taking him down. And how do we learn this? It says, from the brother of David. The big brother, the Bechor, was Eliav, and he was a tall guy, a nice guy, a good guy. And when Shmuel HaNavi came, he was sure that he's going to be the Mashiach, he's going to be the king, and not David. And God tells him, no, he is not going to be one. Don't look how he looks from outside, because I don't want him. Ma'astiu. And you know why? because he was getting angry on David. He says something in anger to David, and in that minute he lost the opportunity to become the king. And he says here, imagine to yourself somebody that worked all his life and he made a lot of money, and now he's got this big pile of dollar bills, $100 bill, millions there. He takes a lorry, takes it to the center of town, and he takes a torch and he burns all his money. What do you say? Mashigana, what are you doing? And he will say, what am I doing? The same that what you are doing. So now you're sure that he's a Mashigana. We are burning our money with our hands. We are not stupid. We're not doing those things. So he's going to quote to us this guy from the Moharan, from Rabbi Nachman Mibreslev. And he says, and know that everybody from Israel is deserved to have money. But there is one midah, shemafsedet u'ma'aberes, one thing that make them lose all the money. And what is this bad midah? Bad midat hakas, getting angry. And when he's angry, he loses what was written up in heaven, the money he deserved. So it could be that he now was supposed to get millions. So Yetzer Hara comes to him and makes him angry. And at that minute, he loses all the money. Which means that he burned with the anger, with the burning anger, he burned his own money. The same way, says this man, as I burned my money. So what are you talking about? And even if you got the money and you get angry, so God will find a way to take it from you. Here you have this, suddenly the dude went, suddenly the gas doesn't work, the washing machine doesn't work, you need to go to a doctor and everything costs you a fortune and you lose your money. And who is to blame? You with your anger. Unbelievable lesson. And imagine to yourself if somebody is going to be promised, be for half an hour, don't get angry, and you get $1 million, and we will send people that will try and make you as angry as they can. What do you think? Are you going to control yourself for half an hour for $1 million? Of course you will. So that's the way we should think in order to fight this anger, in order to build ourselves, to get this high level, seeing God. Kriyat Yamsuf, Shirat Hayam, Shir HaShirim that we sang on the first Shabbos, Shir HaShirim, this song of love to God. And that level, that we can get to the highest level we can and really get to the Geulah Shlema Bimera Beyameinu. Amen.